Good morning, YouTubers. I didn't post a video last week. I apologize. I was doing some other stuff and actually put up a lift in the shop. I probably should have taken a video of that, but I dropped the ball. And this week, it's still a little slow in the shop. I'm waiting on a buddy to come help me do some wiring because I hate wires. So I'm just going to do a quick tutorial on how to paint numbers. The cost of vinyl graphics has come down quite a bit, but for some of the smaller racing guys or demolition derby guys, enduro cars, maybe even street stocks or mini stocks, if you're trying to save some money, put that towards performance instead of looks, well then it's a lot easier to paint numbers. It's a little bit cheaper to paint numbers. What you're going to need to do this is obviously some blue painter's tape, tape measure, something to mark with. I don't like using Sharpie because if you get Sharpie on the surface that you're painting, it'll bleed right through the paint and you'll see it. So something to mark with other than a Sharpie, pencil, pen, soapstone, something you can wipe off, maybe wax pencil. And let me show you what we're going to do here. Basically, say this is the door of your car. You need to figure out how tall you want your numbers to be. So in this example, we're going to do somewhere around 24 inches for the height of the number. You need to create a grid so that you can get your numbers, as close to the same size as possible. You don't want one number to be huge and the number right next to it to be small. Just look at the idea. You kind of want to figure out a general idea of what width the number should be on the door. So that it fits good, it's visible from the flag stand because you want to get scored. But that you can still, get some symmetry out of it. We're going to try to stay in the, let's go about 40 inches here. Alright, so now you got your box all set up. Next you got to find your center, which should be somewhere right around 20 inches. Make sure your tape's stuck good. Now of course, how you grid this out is going to determine how you want your numbers to be. Like if you were to do an italic, a slanted number, maybe like an Earnhardt style number with a slant to it, you would obviously slant these lines. You'd slant this one, you'd slant this one, you'd slant this one evenly to get that symmetry that you're looking for. Today I'm just going to do a basic block number without the slant, just to get the point across on how to do it. The grid makes the difference on how you do this number. You angle the grid, you angle the number. But you still need to space everything out evenly so that it doesn't look weird in a car. Alright, so now you got your grid. Two numbers. My number is 46, so that's what we're going to do today. Obviously, a block number, like a 4 or a 1 or a 7, is going to be a lot easier than something with curves. When it comes to the curve part, you kind of got to eyeball it a little bit. You do some measurements, but you pretty much got to eyeball it. So we're going to start with 4 because that's the easier one. Now, the tail of the 4 is the kind of the difficult part here. So, you want a tail, but how much tail you want is going to change the width of your number. So, I'm going to do about half of a tape width for the tail. Now, the this is where a razor knife comes in handy. So now the width of the legs, the leg of your fore, you know, all the pieces of your fore, you want that width to be the same. So that width there has to be the same for the leg as well, or the tail as well. So now we got to figure out kind of how wide we want this to be, you know. About 5 or 6 inches probably is going to be pretty close to how wide we want that. You know, you're trying to make it fit in the box evenly. 6. So I'm going to say something like that. Tail there, it's a short one. So now we're going to come 6 inches across from here. We're going to mark it. 6 inches across from here, and we'll mark it. Okay, so that being said, now the bottom of the fore has to be at the same height at the bottom of the tail. Now you can see I'm just kind of eyeballing it here. Not bad either. So now I'm going to measure out from here 6 inches, because that is where this leg has to be. Razor knife, place that off. So 6 inches again, off of here, like that. Oh, you're picking up what I'm putting down? You're starting to see it now? So, now the tricky part comes at the middle of the fore. You got your basic outline, you gotta get the middle. It gets a little tricky. So you gotta come in, you're 6. You gotta come up, you're 6. You gotta come in from here. You're 6. Sometimes a smaller tape is a little bit easier to get to this part because it's going to get tricky here. Yeah, these are real tricky. We're going to rip the tape down the center here so I can see the pen lines. Is that one? This one. This piece is ripped off. This part. It's pretty small. 6 might have been a little too wide, but it gets the point across. Look at that. A 4. Beginning of the 6 going to be up here at 6 inches. So there's your 6-inch mark. Okay, so obviously at the bottom of the 6, the very center, is going to be somewhere around 10. About here will be the center of the curve on the bottom. And up 6 inches from that will be the center of the curve for the hole in the center of the 6. So, this is where it gets a little crazy, because you've got to curve it from here all the way over to here. Something like that. And from here it's actually got to curve down to the bottom. This might be where a wax pencil or a soapstone come in handy, because your 6, you want to try to keep it as symmetrical as possible. You kind of have to eyeball it when it comes to the numbers that are curved, because it gets tricky. You've got to use, some artistic sense. I mean, you're going to measure, but at the same time, you kind of got to freehand the circle unless you want to use a compass, which with an italic number is going to be even harder to do, but you can do it. You can definitely do it. So once you've kind of got it traced out, which you probably can't see on the screen there, you've kind of got to tape out the general direction of it, which is actually quite tough. It's almost easier to draw it on the tape and then cut it out with a razor blade, which is what we're going to do, because it's just a lot easier to do. I can see where I drew with the pen, so I'm kind of taping over it right now. And we're going to come back and draw it out on the tape and then cut it out with a razor blade. You guys can probably see that maybe a little bit with soapstone. I try to get the circle as round as possible. Sometimes that's easier said than done, but Alright, so I've kind of freehanded a 6 in here. Basically, where this leg meets the circle, this point here should be right about the center of here. So you want, like, the center of your numbers this way should meet right about at that point for a 6. If you were to do a 9 opposite, you know, whatever, but somewhere in here. So then from that point, you want to keep your 6 inches, because you did 6 inches on the 4, you want to keep your 6 inches across and try to create your curve up. You can see I taped it off and kind of give me an idea where to draw, because I'm going to cut it out with a knife, but you're trying to keep this curve 6 inches all the way across. Okay, and then as you get to here, you've got to freehand the curve down and actually touch the bottom, the top of this bottom tape line, because you're trying to keep the numbers symmetrical. You're going to keep hearing me saying symmetrical. Come down and around, and you literally freehand. You can see I kind of missed the tape here where I laid the tape down, thinking I was going to go. I went a little bit wider than that, out to here, and up. And you get to here, and you curve it back in, and you meet that point. So, now, agreed, this point here isn't in the center this way, but it is in the center this way. You got to freehand it. I mean, it might take you a couple tries, but keep trying until you get it so that it looks fairly symmetrical. Once you've got it, you can then cut out, you know, your outline there. The center point, which obviously is going to be 6 inches from the outside of the circle in every direction. So now once you've got that, again, you have to kind of freehand it. Something like that. Now, in the past, I've actually, on some of the cars I've done, I've gone as far as taping out the whole square and then drawing the grid on with the pen and cutting it out. You can go that route. It uses a lot more tape. I was trying to save tape doing this. But I've also done it on poster board, where I actually created the numbers on poster board, cut them out, and then transferred them to the car, which that way is a lot quicker. It's often a little bit easier because you're painting more than one number usually. You're painting both doors, roof, maybe the front, back, whatever. Sometimes it's easier to create it on poster board. You know, with a ruler, pen, you can get a compass out. Sometimes it's a lot easier to do it that way and then transfer it to tape on the car. You know, you can lay out a tape grid, stick your poster board number on there, draw it on the tape and cut it out quick and, you know, move along to the next number. Sometimes it's faster that way. You know, you can sit in the house where it's warm with a piece of poster board and, you know, some scissors and a pen, and you can make your number and then, you know, go out to the garage and lay it out on the car. Sometimes it's easier to do it that way, but to show you, we've done it here on the board, trying to make it a little bit easier. And I'm moving along kind of quickly, so it might not look fantastic, but it should look pretty good. So let me finish what I got going on here for you. that you've got the number on there, taped out, it's on the side of the car, you can see it. Obviously you're going to tape out the rest of your area so you don't get paint all over the side of the car. Outside of the number, maybe some paper or something obviously. But because I'm not on the side of the car, I'm on a board. I'm just going to kind of make the gap a little bit bigger so the overspray is not as noticeable. I'm just going to use some random spray paint that I've got in the cupboard, but obviously you're going to use whatever color you want to use. I've just got some stuff in the cabinet left over from different things that I've done, so that's what I'm going to use. Alright, it's been a couple minutes. Let it dry. Still a touch tacky, but it's not wet. You know, just kind of sticky to the touch, which is enough to get the point across what we're trying to do here. So basically, we're just going to give it a little effect now. Give it something, make it different than everybody else's numbers, kind of make it look cool. A little fade. Something like that. Now you can untape it. Obviously be careful not to let your tape hit the number as you pull it off. You can take some black and do an outline around it, which I can do for you quick actually right now with a paintbrush. And we'll show you what that looks like. Let's see if I can set this up so you can see it the correct way now. Hopefully that's working. Take a little black in the can here. A little 2-inch paintbrush. I'm just going to do this quick here to get the point across it. You obviously probably want to cut in a little bit tighter line than what I'm about to do. could obviously use tape to the outside of your black line if you wanted to keep it, you know, nice and tight and square. I'm just kind of doing this quick to point across. You can do it freehand. My Instagram followers, they saw me do some battleship numbers at work on some chillers, and the white part of those numbers was taped off, and the outside shadow part was hand painted just like this. I just kind of took my time a little bit more than I am right now. And right now we're just trying to get the point across. If you can do this for sell, for cheap, the whole point is, it's all about time. It's about time and it's about being creative. You know, you can make your car cool, your race car, still be cool, still look better than the rest of the cars on the track. You know, still look sharp while you're doing it. The time, you know. Not gonna say that painting's for girls, because obviously I'm doing it, but you know, a lot of us car guys have girls because you know girls like nice cars and we build nice cars. So my wife actually likes doing this part. You know, it gets her involved. You know, if your wife's not involved, or your girlfriend's not involved, and you want to get her involved, this is a good way to do it. You know, maybe they don't know a lot about cars, but anybody can run a paintbrush and some tape. You know. My wife enjoys doing this part. You know, we did it on some enduro cars for my uncle a while back. You know, she enjoyed it. It gets her involved. She doesn't know a lot about cars, but she can run a paintbrush. And that way she's involved and it feels like she accomplished, like she's part of something. You know, you spend all your nights and weekends out there in the shop building a race car. She's missing you. She wants to spend time with you. This way you're giving her that opportunity to come out there in the garage and spend some time with you. You know? She gets to be part of the action. That way she feels involved. Or you just do it yourself, like I do. You know? If you got kids, you know, maybe let the kids do it. Let them get involved. You know, kind of guide them through it, teach them how to do it. You know, make it a family affair. Just gotta take your time, work away around the outside. Now, you know, you can probably see my brush strokes. Like I said, I'm in a hurry, but the fact of the matter is, even though I'm in a hurry, most people who are going to be looking at this are going to be looking at it from the grandstands. And from the grandstands, it's going to look like $1,000,000. They'll never see these brush strokes. You know, 50 feet away, 50 miles an hour. My uncle calls it 50-50. If it's 50-50, you're good. You know? Of course, his race cars always look nice because I did it for him. The nice part about the outline is, if you don't quite like the way something came out, sometimes you can just cover it up with some black paint on the edge. You know, if the edge is a little messed up, you can actually fix it. Like this circle is a little out of round, so I'm going to try to fix it with black paint. Like so. And there you go. That's it.
Got an outline, got your number. Looks cool, it's different. From the grandstands, looks like $1,000,000. So, pretty easy. Obviously, you can make your shadow bigger, make it more defined if you wanted to, but I'm just trying to get the point across to show you that you can do it. You can do it on the cheap. You know, save a few bucks for performance parts instead of spending it on this. You know, vinyl graphics have come down a lot over the past few years, but you know, you still gotta put those on. So by the time you order them, wait for them, you could have did this on a Saturday. You know, on a Saturday or Sunday or even a night after work, you could have all the numbers on your car. Just take some time and some creativity. Remember, you can't see both sides of the car at the same time, so if they're not exactly the same, why does it matter? As usual, keep it creative and happy building. If you like what you see here, please subscribe. I'm going to try to do how-to vids every week. I know I missed last week, but yeah, try to show you something cool every week.